1122 Wingnut Radio. I'm out here for Anarchy TV. And I had a comment on one of my videos asking if I could teach them about radios and antennas and stuff. And honestly, man, I'm not a really good teacher, but I could tell you on a general, basic sense what I know and what I do for myself to make things work. I mean, right now I take full advantage of like my natural conditions. I've got a little bit of height. See, I think I'm probably close to around, I don't know, probably 8th or 9th, close to the 8th or 9th highest spot in the whole state of Florida. It's not very high, but I think it's only like, actually, I think I'm out here probably about 200 foot above sea level, something like that. So a lot of people are a lot lower than that. But anyway, like if you were going to do a mobile type antenna, you could even use mobile antennas for house, like base station type of stuff. You can even do that. I mean, it just depends on how, if you have to put a ground plane on these things, and that's as simple as just putting some some copper wire or something like electrical wire, like a house wire. Just take it about, I don't know, I would do probably about 102 inches or something, close to about the size of a steel whip. If you were doing a steel whip, which this is a steel whip, 102-inch steel whip. Now I'm gonna tell you something. That, on a general sense, will do everything you need to do, and you generally don't have to do anything to it because it's the right length, and you can adjust SWRs probably most likely through the coax, like the length of coax. Sometimes you can lower your SWR, which is the signal wave ratio. That's what the SWR is, and you want to have that for optimal receive and transmission at the lowest, the lowest you can get it. And if you can imagine that, as the stuff's running from the radio through the coax to the antenna. Now the SWRs acts like a bottleneck. The higher the SWR, the tighter it is, and the more you're trying to push out, but the less you're pushing out, or the less you're getting in, and all that stuff. It acts like a bottleneck. With the lower the SWRs, the wider that gets, and the more this is resonant, or whatever you want to call it, more of it, and all that stuff. Now you can have it on a clamp. They got these clamps that you can put on, like on a truck. Like on my truck, I had a toolbox, and I had it dead center on the back of the toolbox, so that ended up being about center of the truck. See, when I say ground plane on a mobile antenna, the ground plane ends up being the body and chassis of the vehicle. That metal becomes the ground plane of the system. All right, and now if you use this for a house antenna, you would have to put, like, in a sense, replace that. Like I was saying, you take some wires, take about 4 of them, go about a 45-degree angle stretched out toward the ground, you know what I mean? And have them all stretched out, kind of like a Christmas tree shape, and that would in a sense be your ground plane. All right, you have to put that on the ground part of the antenna. See, this would be the positive end of the antenna. And when you put it into a kind of like a bracket, whatever this is touching, the outside is touching, and it becomes the ground, and the center post of the antenna is the positive. All right, now personally, I would veer away from using these fiberglass stick antennas. Now, all these things that got in them is just a copper wire on the inside, just a thin piece of copper wire. That's the antenna. And they put this fiberglass, or they put the antenna, or the wire inside this fiberglass, just stiffen it up, and now you got this antenna. Me personally, I want to stay away from the copper. You could probably use this for a ground plane, like if you had like a few of these, and you can rig it up to where it was like 4 of them was sitting kind of like that, where this is sticking straight up and this is at a like a 45-degree angle, somewhere around there, 45-degree angle, something like that, pointed down toward the ground. But anyway, me, the reason why I stay away from, which I do get on a mobile sense on these, like this is a Fire Stick antenna. This is a fiberglass. Now for the mobile, it's not too bad, because quite honestly, it cuts down, for me personally, it cuts down a lot of noise, like from like fluorescent lamps and, you know, shit like that you come into when coming into town. Now the steel whip will really pick that up, but it's really good for all the general otherwise. Like in town with a lot of lights and stuff like shit like that, yeah, it tends to be a lot noisier. And then you can get into advanced stuff like beams and shit like that, but that's not basic beginner stuff. Now, me, I got everything on batteries. So I'm not, I mean, right now, as it stands right now, I have them charging up on a trickle charger. So I'm still basically using the grid to keep my batteries topped off. But I do have like 100-watt solar panels. But anyway, and I was on the radio the whole time during the hurricane. See, my tower didn't come down, and I watched that, like for instance, that tree over there. I watched that fucking thing fall. When that Hurricane Michael came through, I was sitting here in the house on the radio talking when that came down. That's just like, there's a whole bunch of them. There's another one right over there. But I've got like the whole fence line is covered right now with trees that fell. We just piled them up there along the fence line. But anyway, this is my tower. Now I think it's about 45 foot, and that's a Mako 5/8 aluminum antenna. You can see I got kind of a lean to it. I got a little lean to my antenna. It's the Hurricane. Yeah, but and then for grounding, like on in here where I got the radio, I got this big fat grounding wire coming off of the main part of the bumper or whatever, and that goes to a stake over there. And then plus I over here, I've got actually what they call a devil's triangle. I got a ground rod there, ground rod there, ground rod there, and it's in a triangle formation connected to the tower. And so hopefully, which sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm gonna put, I got some what do you call it, PEX, you know, that water pipe, PEX water pipe stuff. I'm gonna put that coax in it, and so I can help protect that damn coax and stuff, because the outer coating with the sun around here kills it. So I'm gonna put that PEX on that sucker and kind of run it down a little bit further down to a I don't know. I was wanting to put some kind of like I guess it's like a surge protector type thing down there. But I need a loop, so because I've had lightning hit a couple of times here, and I've had to deal with that kind of shit. And I noticed even with that loop right there, if lightning comes traveling down that thing, it tends to pop out and then go wherever, down straight to ground, because it's looking for the easiest path to ground. It doesn't want to go back up. Now it will, some static and some lower shit, but it will. But the main bolt or the main jolt will come straight down to ground, even if it comes down that thing. So I'm trying to get it to where it's the lowest down here and then come back up. So if it does, it goes through the coax, pops down there, and won't go any further. It's the idea. It's the kind of the thing. I was going to use this PVC, but then I got a big roll of like this, not a big roll, but like a scrap roll out of a dumpster, like that's long enough to go all the way down this tower and put the coax in it. But yeah, you know, like I said, it will help protect it. And like I said, when it comes down to your antenna, now you just kind of want it. Personally, there's a mathematical thing when it comes down to it. You know, when it the wavelength and blah 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 and all that stuff. I mean, that's getting into some really technical stuff that I can't really explain to you unless I've got the paperwork in front of me. But you don't really need to go that high. Now 45 foot, is, if you can get to like the majority, I'd say the majority of the antenna above the tree line, you're doing good. That's my opinion. Everybody's got their own fucking opinion. I don't really care. This is what works for me. I actually got the bottom of the antenna is actually higher than the tallest part of these trees. And I got trees all the way around. All right, so I've got it where the bottom of the antenna is actually at the top of the trees. And this is, now I put this up years ago, so these trees are really not going to get any taller. They're going to bush out more. These are these oaks. They'll just they'll get more of a crown spread than height. So I'm not really worried about that. And I don't know. Eventually, I was thinking about, just for shits and giggles, I've got another 10-foot section here that I was thinking about putting up there, and I don't know. But what I was going to do first is I was going to build like a hinge plate for that, and then so I can just tilt it down when I want to work down on the antenna. Instead of climbing the damn thing, I just tilt it all the way down. And if I put the hinge plate on and I do that, I'll go ahead and put that section on just so I have it on, and it'll be easy as hell to put that damn section on instead of climbing up there, taking all that stuff off, and then putting it on, and then putting all that stuff back on. Yeah, fuck all that. But anyway, let's see if I can do this with one hand. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, these are like my solar panels that I got stuck here, but I've got my batteries, which I think I said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them right there, and I've got 6 more eventually I want to hook up and put in line, and I'll probably put them in that box right there and have all 12 of them as one big battery. And then I think, depending on how I can keep everything charged up. Now that's just depending right now as my trickle charger. Now the solar panels that I got are only that cheap Harbor Freight 100 watt. They're 4 big ass panels that do 100 watts all together, which is actually kind of sucky. But at a very slow rate, and if I don't use very much, I at least can do a lot of receive. I can't do a lot of transmit because once those batteries get down to about 50%, they're really nothing. They're practically dead. I mean, if they get down to 50%. So I only got a little bit out of the car batteries, so I can only do so much talking if it comes down to a solar and battery, charging all together. Because I did that during the hurricane, because we were out of power for about 2 weeks. And there's a lot of stuff I still need to do, and if I got all this time, which I might, depending on what's coming ahead, I might have all this time where I can just sit around the house and do all these little projects I've been meaning to do and I haven't done because I had to go to work to fucking pay the bills and blah blah blah, So I mean, maybe I can actually work on my generator, which needs to be worked on and didn't work during the hurricane, and maybe I can get that working again. There's a few things that I have to do, and I think all of us is going to have to start thinking about doing and getting ready. Like I said, there's a big storm coming, And it's off in the distance at the moment, and we're starting to see sprinkles. And I'm speaking metaphorically right now, not literally. And so when it all comes in, it'll be lightning and thunder and heavy rain and then wind, and I mean it could come as a damn typhoon or a tornado or a hurricane, all at the same damn time. For all I know, that damn super volcano over on the on the left coast over there, freaking blow up, and then it'll just take out the whole fucking planet. Or it's possible that that's their plan, is to artificially induce that thing to blow, and then while they're all hiding in their bunkers, and they had an excuse to be hiding in their bunkers because of this bullshit that they popped up. They'll already be there, and we're all just kind of hiding out in our houses being told, and then that's not going to help, because whatever. That's like a whole harebrained that's a wingnut fucking thought that come through my head, because honestly, if I had thought of it, I know somebody with some diabolical evil genius has thought of it. So, you know what I'm saying? You think about those cartoons like Pinky and the Brain. It's like, what are we going to do again tonight, Brain? Everything we do every night. Figure out how we're going to take over the world. There's those evil geniuses out there that are actually actively working against us in reality, in real time, right now. All right? And if some average dude, thought of that shit, damn well they probably already got it set up with the fucking policies and plans and bills and all ready to go, like fucking like 100 and 200 page fucking bill that they've already got written up, and they're like, we come up with this last night because of this certain emergency. And bullshit, y'all had this fucking ready for fucking decades, man. Y'all had this sitting there waiting for this moment. Anyway, I digress. This is the Wingnut Radio for Anarchy TV. I'm back out.